Hi guys, welcome back. The results from ChatGPT are pretty awesome and mind-blowing. And we have already seen the results, right? Now, let's go and check this outline one more time and how to use this outline for generating Python scripts for Maya. In my previous videos, we have already seen few examples. And in this video, we are going to check one more practical example, constraint finder within Maya. Now, I have generated a couple of variations for this script from ChatGPT. Now let's go to Maya and test those. So this is one of the variation and this is another variation. So let's go and quickly run this. Let me select the root. It's going to select all the constraints because I didn't mention constraint type. And constraint type is not mentioned. It's going to select all the constraints. Now if I go and if I want to select only orient constraints, let me check it. Now it's going to select only orient constraints. So now I'm going to test this script on actual rig. So now we can see all the constraints are selected. What if I go and select only orient constraints? In this case now I want to select only orient constraints. Same way, let me go and check this variation also. Let me try first line. So it's selecting both the constraints. Now it's selecting only point constraint. Now it's selecting only orient constraint. And let me try with the geo group over here. If I don't pass the argument for constraint type, it is going to select all the constraints over here under this group. And if I go and try to select point constraint, so it's not going to select anything because there are no point constraints within this group. Yeah, that's it guys. Now we can jump into my pipeline. One of the requirements, we can go and check it there. So some time ago, I was writing this tool so what it does, it export the geocache and then it import. So it's a kind of a geocache tool. During this process, uh, from the rig hierarchy, we need to generate a basic geometry. What it does, it removes entire rig, only it keeps the geometry which is useful for the rig. So in this process, what I will do generally, suppose just I will select a top group node and then I delete all the rig structure, but it should stay in the same pose. This kind of normally we generate T-pose for the geocache, But in this case, I'm going to explain some other thing like there is a requirement in the rigging pipeline, like we at a times we need to provide a base mesh for modeler, so that he work on a corrective shapes. So in this case, this is the rig setup here, right? And this is the geometry. We can isolate and see it. So yeah, both are here. So normal case, what will happen? If I directly go and delete this geometry, so at a times what will happen, because of the constraints deletion, the nodes which are related to constraints, when they are getting deleted, so it will lose that pose, right? So this is something I don't want. What I want is like, let me go back, let me undo it. So in this case, what will happen? First, let me delete some history. So if we go and look at the outliner, every feather comes with some constraints over here. We can see it over here, right? So normally, certain things what we can do, we can go and click on it. Certain things we can delete this way, like by using star here. Same way here. Now we can see only constraints are remain. Now again, let me go and delete this rig setup one more time. Since we removed the history on the body geometry, body will remain same. But what happens to feathers? As long as constraints are here, when rig setup is deleted, it will go back to original pose. So again, this is not something I don't want. Let me undo this step. So before removing this rig main hierarchy, so what should I do? I should delete these constraints. Then that will remain. The pose will be remained. Like I can go here and find out all the point constraints, variant constraints, parent constraints, and then come over here and delete them. So in this case, I'm going to select parent constraints first. So it has selected. Sorry. It has selected all the constraints within that group. Now I'm going there and deleting those. Again, I am selecting the top group, and I can come over here and then select variant constraints. Delete those again. Now I come over here, select scale constraints, go over here, and then delete those. So now there are no constraints left here. So now what will happen? Now I can go over here and then I can delete the rig hierarchy completely. Now it will stay in the pose. So I have taken this work in progress file to explain a couple of things. So at a times in our pipeline, what will happen if we want to share this pose with the modeler for the corrective shape. So at a times he doesn't know exactly how, while he is adjusting this body mesh, he don't know how it is going to affect these feathers, right? Now if I go and move this vertex, so what happening? It's not affecting these feathers, right? So for that, what I am doing, so I will quickly go and select all these feathers and attach those feathers to this body mesh. So in this case, I am just isolating the view. Let me select all the feathers. Let me quickly go to a couple of rows upside. Now it has selected all the top feather groups. Let me come over here and I am going to use this option, attach to nearest point. So now I have selected all the feather top groups, and then I am selecting the body mesh, and let me go and quickly go over here and attach to nearest point. It may take little time. So let me go back and move that specific vertex. If I move this vertex, so it is going to affect feathers. Now modeling I can know that, like while he is adjusting this geometry in this pose to do the corrective shape for wing close. So this is how I can provide a body mesh along with the feathers attached to the modeling eye, so that he will know to what extent body mesh is affecting the feathers. So in this process, what we came to know is like uh, by selecting the top group, we are able to select all the constraints. Then we can go and delete it. Same thing can be automated later. Like if we are going to write another tool like a rig remover. So in the T-pose, what it does, it will delete all the constraints first, then all other unwanted stuff. Then it will only keep the geometries. That's how we can just publish this remain file as a geocache. In this case, it is a wing close position, but what I'm saying about T-pose. So we want to generate a geocache from a rig file. That's the process. Now let me come back to the rig file one more time. So if we look at these options, so it is going to select all the uh, nodes which are specific to the particular node type. So yeah, under one group we need to select specific type of nodes, means this is the way. But since I can't provide all node types here, I have given another option here, like I can go and if I go and select joint here, it will select all the joints within this hierarchy. Now we can see that. So in this process, we understood how to select constraints. So let us go and check it the same within the ChatGPT. So there we can generate an outline and try to generate a Maya Python script there within no time. That script is useful something like in this way. Now I'm going to get an outline. One is a simple outline. Second one is a detailed query. So first let me try this simple outline. So here what I'm asking, like give me an outline. So this outline is for the script for finding all the constraint nodes which are below the selected or given transform node. So a simple outline can provide us like so define function it augments transform node. So it's a very basic, right? Now if I go and select a detailed one, So it is saying like define the function and its arguments. Like the arguments are like a transform node and a constraint type. Constraint type can come up with a point, orient, parent, scale, and aim constraints. Then it's going to use list relatives to find all the transform nodes. Then iterate through all the child nodes. So like so then go and find out what is constraint node or not. Then return the list of found constraint nodes, right? So this is about the outline. So by using that outline, we can plan a little bit more than what we know already. So yeah, that's it from the outline side. So now let me query a simple I'm ignoring this last part. So once the main query is initiated, we can use this a bit later as a to continue the chart. In this case, I am requesting to write a class, Python class. That's why it is giving a class instead of the function. So in that, it is going to find the constraints like, so it is a generic query, right? Because we didn't give more inputs. So now I'm going to provide more inputs, something like this. So I'm specifying like transform node should be this one. Constraint type is optional. So use pm this command to list out all the hierarchy nodes. So I am giving a bit more details. So if constraint type is not given, list out all the constraints. If constraint is point, select only point constraints. This time I am asking Python script, Python function. So now it is giving me the function. Earlier, since I requested for the class, so I asked to write a Python class. It was trying to write a class for me. Since this time I have requested for Python function. This time it is writing Python function over here. If constraint type is given, it is just comparing whether it is a given type of constraint or else it is adding all the constraint types. So specific constraint or all the constraints it is checking for. Then as I requested, it is started requesting. It is creating test code also here. Let me go and copy this thing. It's a kind of third variation I am trying out now. So let me copy this code also. Just run this thing. So it is saying like let me copy this error. So earlier it has generated a code for a Python 3.6. So now here is the updated test code that should work with the Python 2.7. So from the error, it has identified that there is something issue which is related to Python version. Copy this code again. So none type object is iterable, not iterable. So what it was trying, it is just trying to get this, as this function is not returning anything, I have slightly modified this code something like this here. So I have added one more line over here, a small correction. I think then it should work fine. Okay. So in this case, it is not selecting this thing. The issue is like node.type is not comparing exactly. We may have to go there, like we need to try out this thing. Constraint type is given. In this case, I have given point. No children nodes are selected. Constraints. So we don't need to compare this one. We can just remove this thing. Still, I think, sorry, I have to create this one. Yeah. Right now, constraint type is finished. Let me debug this way. Okay. Yeah, it is actually providing the same, but it is not selecting. We have to ask to select. So now it should work as expected. Okay. Now let me try this thing. Okay, I have to use this one. It was like as earlier. Yes, now it's working as expected. If I don't give any augment, it will select all the constraints. Okay, that's it guys. I hope you enjoyed this session. So I come across a little small requirement today. So I want to test this thing like find nodes which has unique names. So this is the format. I have used it here. So what I did, I just copy pasted up to this one from here, whatever it is there. I have copy pasted and slightly I have changed the format here. So this is the thing I have got it from ChatGPT. So then I have used write function. So same thing. So the main query is like I need a script for checking if each node under selected or given transform node has unit name or not. So this has given stable result. And when I started using this outline, I have just included this line, use pyml.core for importing libraries. So then earlier it was giving maya.cmds library. Now all the result I have got it through pyml.core. So then I have used this function over here. Let me come and quickly check it. So this is consistently giving me the result for me. So I started using it. So in this function, everything it worked as expected. Only these two lines I have added. So I missed the thing in the query. So this is the outline. I have got it. So we can say some nice decent commands. I have got it over here. So something like so let me mark those commands which I have got it, whatever it is recommending. So these are the commands it has recommended. So this command worked well in this case. Yeah, it is a clean outline for me. It worked as expected. So then I went and created the function over here. So this is the function it has given. So like I said, it didn't select the required nodes here, required unique name list. Sorry, required unique name list. It has to select before it is returning. So let me try one more time. So I have slightly changed the formats over here. So this time I'm using the name check unique names instead of underscore. Let me try it one more time. It took literally 2 to 3 minutes to generate a new script. So we can see now like function name is updated with a given name. That means this format is working as expected. So main function, generic options, augments, format, function augments, what are all the augments you need, main requirements, additional requirements, application versions, all those things it is working as expected. So even this time it was missing that functionality. It is not selecting the unique names before it is returning. So in such cases what I can do, I can quickly go over there. So select the list of unique names before returning. So let us see how it's going to update. So now we can see that pm.select unique names it is selecting. Now what I want, if transform node is none, uh, it has to consider the selection. So that also I can request here. I can say use selected transform. So the moment I say it is none, as an optional, use selected transform. So it is taking that requirement in runtime. So now we can see that it's going to update if transform node is none, transform node is equal pm.selected 0, we can see. So all descendants, it is working very clean way. So yeah, it's a really cool one. So same thing we can see it over here. So first let me run this test. So it has already created these dummy nodes for testing purpose. So it has selected unique names because when I duplicated this one, these two names has unique names, others can have non-unique names. So this is something. So let me duplicate this one more time, Control D. So now it has given, I can say 5. Let me say it is 5. So let me copy this code one more time. Now I can replace until here. Okay. Uh, Let me run this one more time. So this time I'm not giving the augment here, so it has to do that selection. So I'm removing this one. So instead of that, I'm just selecting this one. So it's saying full name is not there. So let me raise this query one more time. So earlier it was working fine. That means what is there? Let us go and check it one more time. So node dot full name, it is already there. I think it should be work. It should work as expected. But anyhow, let me raise that query one more time. So let me try long name. So a bit strange now. I think it's not long name. It should be full name only. But anyhow, let me try with this function one more time. Sorry, it's a node dot name, not the full name. So let me go and check this one. Yes, now it's working fine. Let me duplicate one more node. So it's selecting non-unique name here. Sorry, unique name here. So let us consider one practical requirement. So let us say I requested a modeling guy. So to add a couple of feathers based on the request. So while he is returning back, he has given me, let us say something like this. maybe I might have requested to use newly added feathers in a layer, or maybe I might have requested to apply some some color to this feather. So maybe let us say modeling I might have forgotten it. So in that case, how can we identify that? He might have maintained all other names as it is. Maybe out of all these feathers, only one feather might have been newly added one. So definitely it might have a unique name, let us say. So in that case, I'm selecting this group and I am running this one, and we can quickly go over there and we can see that this is newly added feather, right? So later I can add a couple of groups. That is something different, but in this case, just by using, this is one of the techniques I use sometimes. So to identify newly added stuff um, within the Maya, what I have done, I have just duplicated it and added a couple of feathers. Then I just selected this. When I run this function, it will select that newly added any objects. I hope it helps some of you guys. Thanks for watching.